Summer's almost over. We got a couple of weeks left. So we're talking about Summering, the new drama from director James Ponsoldt. Quick little disclaimer here off the top. He is a friend of ours. We like him very much. So we're not going to give this movie a number, but we did want to share it with you and talk about it a little bit. So Alonso, please describe Summering.
This is our last weekend before middle school. I want to go backwards, not forward.
It is August. It is the waning days of summer. School's about to start back up. And so for a quartet of young girls who have been friends all their lives, who are about to go into middle school, which is sort of scary, unmarked terrain, this is kind of a last hurrah of this incredible summer they're having and getting to hang out together, much like Stand By Me, to which this is going to inevitably be compared. They find a dead body in the woods, in an area of the woods that they call Terabithia. So I guess they were kind of asking for it. But anyway, so they have to sort of figure out, like, where did this guy come from? What was he about? They decide before they turn it over to the authorities that they want to sort of investigate it themselves as kind of one last group effort. So the four young actresses are really amazing. Lia Barnett as Daisy, Sanai Victoria as Lola, Madalen Mills, who I know from Jingle Jangle, the Netflix movie a couple years ago, and Eden Grace Redfield. And it's kind of a hangout movie. It is just sort of about like these kids spending time together and sort of contemplating what the future is going to be like, but also sort of trying to grasp onto things. I think what doesn't quite work here is that some of the narration early on, I believe from Lia Barnett's character, it's like if they put Richard Dreyfuss's narration from Stand By Me in the mouth of Will Wheaton. Like it's like you're being real philosophical and contemplative about all this that I don't know that you would be in the moment as a kid. She talks about the way that the specifics of summer and about friendship and stuff in a way that sounds like this is an older person looking back. This is not a kid in the throes of it, but well, the tone kind of shifts around a bit. The four of them are so strong, and I liked the easiness of their kind of banter and their back and forth, and just the way they talk about nonsense and the non sequiturs, and how their conversations will veer off in various directions, and how they take certain things super, super seriously and other things sort of roll off their back. We also get to know their moms along the way, because at some point the kids go off on this adventure and sort of lose touch. And so the moms are panicking, and they're played by Lake Bell, Sarah Cooper, Ashley Madekwe, and Megan Mullally. And they're fun as well. And I think, we get into certain characters' family traumas in a way that feels very skated past, like, oh, we're just going to throw that out there and then have two lines of dialogue and then just move right along. But I love the way this movie looks. It has that sort of a heavy, low sun, late summer kind of, glare to it, the sort of cicada sounds in the air, sort of, atmosphere to it. So I think this is a really cool movie about childhood that maybe sometimes diverts in ways that doesn't benefit it, and that it's the kind of film I think that would have been great, like shorter or longer. But I like a lot about it, and I think it's worth seeing again just for these performances and for the mood of it all. That's the strongest thing it's got going for it.
Yeah, I agree that the mood is very evocative, and it occupies this really fascinating kind of middle ground because it takes place now, but it feels nostalgic for decades ago. The way these girls hang out and go exploring in the woods and like wander around town. I mean, one of them has a cell phone, which briefly is a plot point, but other than that, this could be any point in time. Quite intentionally, it's not a specific place. Like when you look at some of the license plates and the things are pulling up on a computer, like the state postal code is not a real state. Like I think that they're trying very hard to make it seem like this could be anyone, any place, at any time. And that adds to sort of the ethereal, mystical, wistful vibe here. And I feel like James Ponsoldt does that a lot with his films in terms of creating an evocative mood and having a sensitivity for the way his characters talk to each other. We see that in The Spectacular Now. Certainly we see that even in Smashed, which is a much more intense emotional film. And
End of the tour even.
But all of it, what works well here is so good that I wish I wish they hadn't even found a body. Right? Because it's so inevitably, it so inevitably compares it to Stand By Me, and anything's going to come up short compared to Stand By Me, because it is such a classic of that genre, that summer that everything changed genre, that coming of age movie. It's hard not to come up short by comparison. And then there are some jump scares along the way that feel very out of place and feel like a totally different movie, and it like yanks you out of the reverie that he has created. And there's enough that's good that you don't need that jolt.
Yeah, and these like dribs and drabs occasionally have like magical realism too, and you're like, what? Wait, what are we doing now? I'm not even sure, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It does eventually kind of come back to center and get to the stuff that works and that's effective. So I mean, it does definitely have all that going for it. Are you young enough to have been a Now and Then girl, or is that after
What's Now and Then? Remind me what Now and Then
That's
is.
the one where it's like the four friends, and like as adults they're played by like Demi Moore and Rosie O'Donnell. I forget who else, but as kids it's like Gabby Hoffman and I was way too old for it, but I know that they're like women who grew up with that movie like cling to that movie. It's sort of like Sister to the Traveling Pants. Like if you were 12 when you saw it, you have that movie with you forever. And I could see an 11-year-old maybe seeing this movie with their parents and you know, hearkening back to it later.
Yeah, no, I have not seen that. But yeah, and I like all the actresses playing the moms. Some get more to do than others.
Yes.
I always like Lake Bell. I think she's a bit miscast here as a police officer. But she has some lovely moments with Lia Barnett as her daughter. I really liked the Eden Grace Redfield and Megan Mullally relationship.
Yes.
They kind of give each other shit in a playful, smartass way that's really fun and really feels real and feels lived in. They get the opportunity for a more developed relationship than some of the other mother-daughter bonds do. But yeah, there's a lot I liked. And as we're at the end of summer here, it's sort of a sweet, melancholy hang kind of movie, and that's welcome during these last days here.